There's a moment at the end of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Bowser has been defeated by the Mario Brothers and Rosalina has been rescued by Princess Peach. The sisters embrace and Rosalina says,
"I knew you would come for me."
When I saw this scene in theaters, a little kid a few rows in front of me loudly and incredulously said, "What?" I think about that kid a lot, reacting to a scene that the movie did not earn. The target audience is seeing something in this film that just isn't working. I see it too, and so do the critics. After weeks of pull quotes calling it worse than AI slop and the end of cinema, executive producer Shigeru Miyamoto responded to the bad reviews of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. In an interview with Nintendo Dream, he said,
"We stepped in from another medium and did our best to help energize the film industry. And yet the people who are supposed to champion the film industry are the ones being so negative. It's truly baffling."
This quote has captured my imagination more than anything in the movie. If this movie is supposed to energize the film industry, if this is the future that Shigeru Miyamoto sees for the medium, then the critics are right. The Super Mario Galaxy movie just might be the end of cinema. It has stuck with me just how little joy this movie takes in being for kids. There is a baseline level of zest for life in your average family animated blockbuster that is sorely missed here. Watching the Super Mario Galaxy movie, you get the sense that the movie itself isn't having fun. This is most obvious in how the movie handles Yoshi. Beyond his introduction in the second cold open and the dinosaur sequence, Yoshi is mostly left standing in the background of scenes. Rarely does the movie give him something funny to do, and when it does, we're quickly rushed to the next scene before the bit has time to land. It's baffling restraint from Illumination, of all studios. You'd think the minds behind the Minions would be able to properly handle Mario's animal sidekick. Take this moment from the beginning of the film. Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi are walking through Princess Peach's birthday party so Mario can give her a present. They pass a group of line-dancing penguins, and Yoshi jumps on the dance floor to join in. This is a classic family animated film bit. Solid cartoon animal behavior. Seems like a slam dunk. However, we barely see Yoshi bust a singular move before we cut away to Mario approaching Peach at the castle. Every moment is like this. It's not that the movie isn't funny. Its comedic instincts are fine. Rather, it seems like the movie is holding itself back from being funnier than necessary. That restraint is palpable everywhere in the film. Each set piece is meandered through like a student padding out a page limit and then aborted at the first opportunity for something, anything else. The story is broad strokes and vague, a series of "and then this happens" that will hold up on a wiki page or a streaming blurb without communicating why anything that happens should matter to these characters, or to us. Every semblance of conflict is immediately resolved before it can affect anything, teasing the audience with a hint of tension before pulling it away, like the joke is on you for expecting something to happen. Even the slate of references, the bread and butter of the video game movie, feel rote and lifeless. Gone are the rich background details and blink and you'll miss it moments of the first movie. Now the red carpet is rolled out for each perfectly framed hidden secret, awaiting their red circle and arrow for everything you missed in the Super Mario Galaxy movie style clickbait. The movie repeatedly pauses everything to trot out Nintendo ephemera. Look, it's warped. It's Rob, it's Pikmin, it's Star Fox, it's Rob again, it's the Super Scope, it's Mr. Game & Watch. Whatever fandom authenticity the first movie had is gone, as each reference feels more like pandering than like a love letter. And yet, it's clear that this is all the Super Mario Galaxy movie has. There's not much for story or comedy, so the movie hangs its hat on showing the audience things they recognize and hoping that nobody peeks behind the curtain. None of these elements necessarily make a movie good. None of them preclude a movie from being bad, but we put them in movies because they are fun. It is fun to tell jokes and tell stories and have tension and make references, especially in children's movies. It's important to expose younger audiences to these elements so they can go on to handle more complex stories. Without these elements, and without anything to substitute for them, the Super Mario Galaxy movie is a dull watch. The sense of joylessness is only exacerbated by the movie's tone. The question at the core of each video game adaptation is, how do you translate the way that gameplay feels to a medium without gameplay? For an example that has never been compared to Super Mario before, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies use high-octane chases and fights that emphasize the speed of the characters in order to capture the sense of speed found in the games. How then does the Super Mario Galaxy movie evoke the whimsical platforming of the franchise, or achieve the soaring highs and contemplative lows of the game it's based on? Through taking itself extremely seriously and filling the runtime with expensive-looking action set pieces. There is a gravitas to everything in the Super Mario Galaxy movie that isn't present in the Mario games. Every establishing shot is breathtaking, every fight scene is elaborately choreographed, and every new set piece is more grandiose than the last. None of that gravitas is used marveling at the vastness of space, like the Super Mario Galaxy video game does. It's all spent on showing you recognizable Mario iconography with the weight of a cameo in a superhero movie. And where Super Mario Galaxy the video game builds in time to reflect and rest, the Super Mario Galaxy movie rushes the audience from moment to moment as if the next frame is so important that it will reshape cinema itself in its image. Without any time to breathe between its many set pieces, everything in this movie starts to blend together. That exhausting pacing takes its greatest toll on the narrative. Every event is treated by these characters as gravely important, but we're never shown why it matters to these characters, and nothing happens for long enough to matter naturally. The most egregious example is in the middle of the third act, when Mario uses Chekhov's axe to send Bowser plummeting into a pool of lava. Bowser Jr. falls to his knees, mourning the seeming death of his father. We linger here for 30 seconds, playing everything completely straight as the movie asks us to forget that Dry Bowser exists and is waiting in the wings. Why is this moment like this? Why is this pair of telegraphed references treated like the death of Bambi's mom? It comes across like a parody of itself. More importantly, it doesn't feel like Super Mario. Sure, Mario games can be serious, but even in his most narrative-focused outings, Mario is still a character represented through funny-sounding gibberish. There is levity, whimsy, and yes, joy at the core of Super Mario that allows for the more serious, grandiose, and contemplative moments to work. Super Mario Galaxy the video game strikes that balance masterfully, but it's sorely absent in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. There is a cocktail of joylessness and self-seriousness at the heart of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. This cocktail gives the impression that the only thing the movie believes in is its own importance. The existence of a Super Mario Galaxy movie is mutually beneficial for Illumination and Nintendo. So the Super Mario Galaxy movie must exist. After all, a movie drives ticket sales, streaming subscriptions, merchandise sales, brand tie-in collabs, and of course, sales of Nintendo games. It doesn't matter if the movie is good or fun. All it needs to do is make $1 billion and advertise Nintendo products. So the film exists as a cynical monument to movies as products and products alone. This conclusion is complicated by the mountain of promotional interviews with Shigeru Miyamoto professing the love and care put into every inch of the Super Mario Galaxy movie. The day before the Super Mario Galaxy movie hit theaters, the same day that Kevin Marr called it the end of cinema in his review for The Times, IGN published an interview with Miyamoto and his fellow executive producer, Chris Meledandri, entitled, "Miyamoto is the most important audience member." This piece mainly gives insight into the positive creative relationship between Illumination and Nintendo. Good for them. But when asked about cameos and surprises, Meledandri gave some insight into their process.
When you're working with Miyamoto-san, who is the embodiment of the spirit of Nintendo, what starts to happen is that the team is actually driven to delight Miyamoto-san. I don't ask them to do this. This is, of course, organic. So when ideas come up, everybody's always looking to say, what does Miyamoto-san think?
The references that I found inauthentic and lifeless were part of a game between the production team and Miyamoto. These kinds of creative partnerships can be intoxicating. And I totally understand how this game of spot the not-so-hidden secret could spiral into the grotesque. Likewise, the pacing that I found erratic and purposeless can be explained through another interview Miyamoto gave to Nintendo Dream. He describes approaching the movie as a series of 3-minute shorts rather than a feature-length film. He goes on to say,
for example, parents sitting there out of a sense of responsibility for taking their children to the movie theater, or a story that's moving for the parents but the children are running around the theater. I've always wanted to make a movie that isn't like that, so in that sense, I think it was good that we decided to make it a fast-paced 90 minutes that would be over in no time to catch your breath.
All these interviews provide valuable context for why the movie is the way that it is, but they do not retroactively make the movie good. These quotes won't make that kid in the movie theater appreciate that moment between Peach and Rosalina anymore. Miyamoto and Meledandri can try to make something full of hidden secrets that won't bore parents or children, but what they're making is still a movie. It shouldn't come as a surprise when it's reviewed like one, or when audience members read into it like one. Mario might be the title character, but he's a static and reactive one, with no greater troubles than whether or not his love interest of 40 years likes him back. The protagonists of the Super Mario Galaxy movie, that is to say the characters whose decisions and desires are propelling the narrative forward, are Peach and Bowser. Each of them begins the movie in something of an identity crisis, and they both find resolution through reuniting with long-lost family members. At the start of the movie, a newly reformed Bowser is struggling to prove his goodness to Mario and to himself. The reappearance of Bowser Jr. complicates his feelings further, as he worries he wasn't a good father. By offering himself as prisoner in exchange for the Mario Brothers, he demonstrates his commitment to being a good guy. He is then immediately rescued by his son, and his redemption is almost entirely dropped, only being referred to briefly and dismissively by Bowser Jr. at the end of Act 2. The Super Mario Galaxy movie asks if Bowser is capable of change, and has Bowser Jr. answer with a resounding no. Bowser is evil, and that's all he'll ever be. It is worth noting that this vague redemption arc explicitly positions Bowser as less evil than his school-aged son, which is a fascinating choice. It places Bowser as an unwilling but equally guilty participant in the evil scheme, while casting Bowser Jr. as a single-minded megalomaniacal brat, inverting their usual dynamic and souring the very sweet father-son relationship that's been at the core of these characters for 25 years. Bowser chooses to be good, but the ability to make that choice is taken away from him because his son expects him to behave a certain way. It's an uncharitable depiction of Bowser Jr., and it's not a great look for the only child in this children's movie to be responsible for the choices that lead his father to the bottom of a pit of lava. Sorry, Junior. Maybe you shouldn't have forced Daddy to do something he didn't want to do. Aren't you kids glad you begged your parents to take you to this movie? Stripping Bowser of his agency here also removes the opportunity to have him choose to be a villain. This good-to-be-bad attitude is not only a common way for Bowser to be depicted, but also a very common moment for animated antagonists at large. Megamind, Wreck-It Ralph, even Illumination's own Gru are all able to own the title of bad guy after we've been shown a little goodness under the villainous exterior. Bowser should be able to embrace evil in the same way, but he doesn't get to make that choice, and the movie loses an endearing and cathartic moment because of it. Meanwhile, Princess Peach starts the movie feeling lost. Because she was adopted by the Toads when she was a baby, she doesn't remember anything about where she comes from. She yearns to find out about her family and about her place in the universe. Where Bowser gets 2 separate scenes to demonstrate his emotions and a third to act on them, Peach fits all of this into 20 seconds of dialogue. We don't get to see how this affects her, and she doesn't get to make choices informed by her emotions. She just says, "I feel lost," and Mario changes the subject. Peach and her choices should be the driving force behind this movie. After all, her leaving to rescue Rosalina is the catalyst for the plot, but the film is entirely uninterested in her. Things just happen to Peach without requiring any input or perspective from her. She is asked to rescue Rosalina. She stumbles upon her whereabouts and a mode of transportation, and Mario carries her through Bowser Jr.'s gauntlet all the way to where Rosalina is being held. She even wanders into the resolution of where she comes from. After the Lumas bring the Comet Observatory to rescue our main cast, Peach finds her own origin story in Rosalina's storybook. The touching and nuanced backstory that's in the video game version of the storybook is gone. The movie erases Rosalina's grief, perspective, and context to flatten her into a mere maternal caretaker, both for the Lumas and for Peach, who is revealed to be her sister. Due to some vague danger, Rosalina sends baby Peach through a warp pipe that lands her in the Mushroom Kingdom, and as Rosalina's new storybook frames it, the Toads are to care for her until she is old enough to care for them in return. The Super Mario Galaxy movie asks who Princess Peach is, and Rosalina answers, "You are a mother, like your sister before you." This brings us all the way back to the moment between Peach and Rosalina at the end of the movie. The film doesn't ask how the sisters feel about each other, their reunion, or the journey. It treats the reunion with as much weight as possible, but it doesn't bother to spend enough time with either character to give it any impact. Rosalina simply says, "I knew you'd come for me." And children everywhere respond with a loud, incredulous, "What?" This moment isn't earned because the Super Mario Galaxy movie doesn't care enough about Peach or Rosalina for it to matter. Even Bowser got to mope about attacking Mario and company at the end of Act 2. All Peach gets to do is literally go kick rocks. Why would it matter how she feels about things? She says it herself, princesses don't get frustrated. Girls are so emotional. The simplification of both female characters in this movie to be mother figures is transparently misogynistic in a way that somehow completely eclipses the damsel in distress pitfalls of the games. Princess Peach has more agency in Super Mario Odyssey than in this movie. Screenwriter Matthew Vogel is losing chess to a dog. The fact that there is still any hand-wringing about Peach being a girl boss is embarrassing. If the Super Mario Galaxy movie has a theme, it is that you are who your family says you are. Your choices and desires don't matter because your identity has been predetermined and is waiting to be enacted upon you. And so, like Jonah outside Nineveh, I sit and wait for the end of cinema. It is absurd to suggest that any movie released in 2026 could be the end of cinema. It's certainly not the end of kids' movies. There have been plenty of good movies for general audiences this year, including, against all odds, Illumination's own Minions. Cinema is alive and well in 2026, but Nintendo has chosen not to be a part of that conversation. Shigeru Miyamoto's vision for the future of film is bleak. I certainly do not think that he and Meledandri at all intended to make a movie that earns the criticisms that I and others have made. They sought out to make a good product without considering what it is about movies that people like. The end result is exactly as I have said. Joyless, self-serious, overstuffed with references, and yes, a little sexist. For as baffled as Miyamoto is by the critical response, I am equally as baffled by the creative decisions that went into this movie. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is not the end of cinema, but an end of cinema. There is always the opportunity to reject the notion of films as products alone and do something new and exciting with the medium. It reminds me of a quote from an influential creative of the late 20th century.
When pornography escalates, it eventually crosses into the grotesque. I think the world of hidden secrets in games has almost reached that same grotesque level. It's reached a point where it isn't measured by common sense anymore. It's just people getting bored and looking for stronger and stronger stimulation. We've hit a wall. When you're at the point where you have no choice but to go grotesque, you have to start thinking of new ways to use the medium. Shigeru Miyamoto.